Hey everyone, welcome to the Huddle brought to you by Play USA. My name's Nicole, as always, here with
Ian St. Clair.
And today we're going to talk about what, in my opinion, was probably the best weekend of football we have ever seen. Even though one of the games or part of the game technically is going to make it to our worst of the week, but we got absolutely spoiled as sports fans this past weekend.
Well, especially since it was dubbed Super Wild Card Weekend and there was nothing wild about it. We just had to wait a week.
We talked about that, how it was maybe the not so super wild card weekend games. Those games were so boring. Most of them were, like I said, absolute blowouts that you didn't even really have to watch the second half of. And then all of a sudden, the NFL just gave us show after show after show. And now we're headed into the conference championships. We got our final four teams left. The Chiefs are going to be taking on the Bengals, and the Rams will be playing host to the 49ers. And I'm excited about these matchups as well. I think we're going to get another good weekend of football.
I think one of them has the potential to be a good game. I don't think the AFC Championship game, for all of our Bengals fans, and one of our former bosses is a huge Bengals fan, I don't think the Bengals are going to be able to keep it close against Patrick Mahomes and the Chiefs, but we'll find out.
We will find out. And you know what? Without further ado, let's jump into the worst of the week. This one's a little bit difficult for me because it was a fantastic game to watch. So when you go to just talking about watching games, it was fabulous. However, if you are a Bills fan, you might be hating your defense right now. So what do you got for the worst of the week?
It really is the Bills defense, and you could throw in the Chiefs defense for that matter. I mean, for all that Patrick Mahomes and Josh Allen did, especially with under 2 minutes to go, it was just up and down. It was like both teams had Bo Jackson and Tecmo Bowl. For those kids of the 80s who know the reference, none of those defenses could stop anybody. So, but that's the thing, is the defense. And then I'll throw in the decision on the kickoff after the Bills take the 3-point lead to kick it into the end zone.
Joplin has some she has some opinions on this as well, as you can hear in the background. Sorry, everyone. It's a work from home occupational hazard. Sometimes you get the animals in the background,
especially in a situation like this. So of course she's going to chime in. But the decision to kick it into the end zone and not kick it short. Don't squib it, because then that means that an upfield special teamer can take the ball and down it, and they get better field position. But to kick it instead of into the end zone, do it to the 5 to the 10 and force them to make a decision and to field the ball. That's the other thing that's the worst of the week for me, is that decision on the kickoff with a 3-point lead and 13 seconds left.
Yeah, I mean, 25 points were scored in under 2 minutes, which, again, as two fans that had absolutely nothing riding on this game, was phenomenal to watch, right? Our teams we weren't dealing with it, so it was just fun football. But I don't know if I've ever heard of 25 points scored in under 2 minutes. And like you said, the Bills had a 3-point lead with 13 seconds left on the clock. And I have to be honest with you, I think they got a little complacent. I think they saw 13 seconds. You saw the reaction on the sideline. And I understand almost anyone in that situation would think that they had won the game, but you didn't. That's the thing. You're facing Patrick Mahomes, arguably going to be one of the best quarterbacks, if not the greatest quarterback, of his time. And that's all he needed. And he knew, like you said, they didn't do the squib kick. So they were able to field it at the 20-yard line. And he knew exactly where he needed to get his team into field goal range. And that's exactly where he got his team in 13 seconds. So kudos to them for time management and clock management, because they understood it correctly. But I agree with you that I think most people thought they were going to go with the squib kick, try to eat some seconds off of the clock with them having to field it and make a decision. And it just kind of all went downhill from there for the Bills. So the Chiefs end up tying it, and we go to overtime, and the Chiefs win the toss, and the rest was history.
Yeah. And it's not surprising based on the way the defenses were playing. And you said one of the greatest of all time. I will say it right now. Patrick Mahomes is the greatest quarterback of all time. And I have everyone who knows I'm a Broncos fan, I felt that the guy over my shoulder is the greatest of all time because of what he did with the teams in the 80s. The argument is if you put him on those 49ers teams, those 49ers teams don't lose a Super Bowl in 10 straight years. I mean, it's just insane. But the fact that I can say Patrick Mahomes is the greatest quarterback of all time now is painful because Broncos fan, but what he did with 13 seconds left is the most amazing thing I have ever seen in an NFL football game from any quarterback. To lead his team down to a game-tying field goal with 13 seconds left.
Got to throw it right away, right now to someone in the middle. Down the middle. Oh, my goodness. It's going to be a 48-yard attempt. Only 48 yards. That's what it'll be.
The recognition, the ability, the ability to get it done is remarkable to me. And I hate it because he's a Chief, but I just an amazing accomplishment by Patrick Mahomes and the Kansas City Chiefs.
And the other thing we have to talk about here, I think we do, it was all over Twitter, the overtime rules, right?
Yep.
So everyone is saying it's not the defense's fault, it's the overtime rules fault. Here's my 2 cents. The overtime rules are what they are. They've been what they are all season. You know what's going to happen when you get your team into overtime or when your team is facing overtime. Do I love the NFL's overtime rules? No, I don't think that they're amazing. I think that they could be improved upon, but that's not the reality that we live in. The reality that we live in is that there is a good advantage to the team that wins the coin toss, and your defense has to step up. And as a Steelers fan, I have heard a lot that the defense wins games, and you have the best defense in the league. And I understand that they were gassed and that they were tired, but that's when you've got to turn on another gear and step it up and make the stop. And they weren't able to do it. And that's how the cookie crumbled, right? Like it wasn't a surprise. It wasn't as if the defense was told, oh, these are the rules now that you've lost the coin. Like you knew what the rules were. You knew you were going to have to step on defense if you lost that toss. It was 50-50. And they just couldn't get it done. So congrats to Chiefs fans. But yeah, it was devastating for Bills fans. I do know this.
And you know better than anybody the pain of losing in overtime with these rules, because you lost to Tim Tebow. Yeah. Completing that pass to Demaryius Thomas the first season that these overtime rules in the playoffs were implemented. And not only did you lose to the Broncos, you lost to Tim Tebow, which is still amazing to me that he actually completed a pass. But I mean, you're right. That's just, it's the way the rules are set up. And what's so interesting to me is 3 years ago in 2018, the Patriots at home lost in the same situation to Tom Brady and the Patriots. And Andy Reid wanted to change the rule. I think Andy Reid still wants to change the rule.
And it didn't get voted on.
And one of the teams that didn't vote for it was the Buffalo Bills, which is ironic.
Yeah. So, I mean, it, like you said, it is what it is. And it has been a source of contention for a few years. We know that not everyone loves it. But like you've said, Reid wanted to change it. It didn't get voted on, so it is what it is. And it was no surprise what was going to happen. You have, like you said, you have a 50-50 chance, and you know what you have to do should you lose the coin toss. So it was tough to watch the defense just really not be able to do anything against Mahomes in overtime. I mean, it was just boom, 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 right down the field. And I'm excited for them. And honestly, let's just take it to Twitter, if you don't mind, because we're going to talk about the celebration, the post-game celebration. And I think we're a little surprised on my take.
Yeah, a little bit.
We have talked about Brittany Matthews and Jackson Mahomes before, but I am going to side with them on this one. And here's my take. So if you have missed it, After the Chiefs won the game, Brittany is, of course, in her suite above a large group of Kansas City Chiefs fans. And I will agree, it was freezing cold at that game. But Chiefs fans don't care. It's like the Bills fans that were at that game with 60-mile-per-hour winds. And she takes a bottle of champagne, she pops it, and she sprays it on the fans. And I think they love it. But Twitter has lost their minds over this. And they hate her for it. I mean, they have used the H word, which is why I'm saying that they've used the word hate, saying that this is disgusting behavior and she doesn't know if there's children down there and they've been waiting in the cold and now they have to go home and they're cold and they're sticky from the champagne. Get over it. I'm sorry, get over it. Champagne sprays are so common. Formula One, it's what they do. That's how you celebrate. And I guarantee you, if you polled any of those Chiefs fans down there, they freaking love that moment and celebrating with her. And that's my take on it.
The only take that I will have is, why didn't she spray it on her and her friends? If it was such a celebratory moment, why didn't she take it to also spray herself and the people in her suite? Why did she decide that she's going to shoot it all over the stands?
I mean, I agree, but at the same time, like, there are electronics and stuff in a suite. Like, we do have, you have staff and TVs and, food and stuff like that multiple people are eating. So I understand what you're saying. Like, and I think maybe if they were outside and not in a suite with a bunch of expensive stuff and because here's the thing, if she would have sprayed it in the suite, it's a lose-lose for her. If she would have sprayed it in the suite, then it would have been, you have no respect for Chiefs Kingdom and Arrowhead and the workers that are feeding you in the suite and stuff like that. So I think it was just, she's excited. She's happy for her husband. I think 99.99% of the fans polled probably thought it was a fun way to celebrate with her. If they didn't, I guess she could tweet out, I'm sorry if, but it's just, in retrospect of all the dumb things that Jackson Mahomes has done and we've gotten upset about, we've actually gotten upset about this. I just think is this is not a hill to die on here. This is, I just don't, it's like Champagne Gate. I don't see the big deal about it. Again, I think if she sprays it in the suite, she gets crapped on for it too and hate on Twitter again. So just leave her alone on this one.
Either way, I don't know how I would feel about it. Obviously you're ecstatic because your team just tied it up with 13 seconds left and then won it in overtime. Driving home and having your clothes all sticky doesn't sound that appealing to me, but Chiefs fans are their own breed. I'll reserve comment on that. For me, my take it to Twitter, and I tweeted this after the Broncos announced, or that it came out from Adam Schefter and the various reporters, that the Broncos coaching search is over and the 18th coach in Broncos history will be Nathaniel Hackett, who is the offensive coordinator for the Green Bay Packers. And the reason that happened is because the San Francisco 49ers went into Lambeau, beat Aaron Rodgers and the Green Bay Packers, which is, I think, I wouldn't say a big upset, but it's somewhat surprising given that Aaron Rodgers and the Packers were the number one seed and they were playing at home. I think something else that we could get into down the road is it has the mystique of Lambeau Field rubbed off. The other aspect of it, but the fact that the Packers lost to the 49ers allowed for George Paton and the Broncos to hire Nathaniel Hackett, which, as I said on Twitter, this just dumped about 1 million gallons of fuel to the already burning Aaron Rodgers to the Denver Broncos speculation. So from now until whenever Aaron Rodgers makes his decision, this is going to be the focus of basically everyone on Twitter is, what does this mean? Oh, is Aaron Rodgers in Boulder at a Safeway with his fiance Shailene Woodley.
They don't shop at Safeway. Come on. They see, I don't know. They see more of like a Whole Foods.
A whole paycheck. Either way, they're in. What does this mean? Is Devontae Adams going to join up with Aaron Rodgers? Well, I mean, that's where it's headed now that the Broncos have hired or will hire Nathaniel Hackett as their head coach.
And I'm so glad you have to deal with it, because I'm sick of seeing Steelers Nation post pictures of Aaron Rodgers in a black and gold jersey. I don't want that. I understand. Like I've told you before, it might be selfish because maybe he would be a good fit for the team. I don't know. I mean, I can't deny that he is a good quarterback, but I don't want him. So you can have him. You guys have, and hey, you're happy about this coach. So what do you think? Do you like the pairing if Hackett brings Rodgers? Are you happy for Broncos country?
There's good and bad with it. Obviously, you have the off the field stuff, but you also have the on the field stuff. I mean, it's difficult because there's a way to do it. And I've phrased it as a Pat Bowlen Bronco. And for those who don't know, he was the longtime owner of the Denver Broncos when he bought the team in 1984 from Edgar Kaiser. And up until his death, there is a way to do it. And my wife has thrown this at me. Is Aaron Rodgers a Pat Bowlen Bronco? And if you ignore all the stuff off the field, no, I mean, he's not. But at the same point, they're mired in a six-year drought of no playoffs, 5 straight seasons of not having a winning record. It's a stretch of futility that you have to go back to the 1960s and early 70s to see for this organization. So I don't know. I don't know how I feel about it. I don't know how I feel about Nathaniel Hackett. There's a lot of stuff that has to happen for this to come to fruition. If Nathaniel Hackett doesn't get Aaron Rodgers, does it really change the Broncos? Because there's still 2 other things at play here. The Broncos ownership situation, where the current president of the trust and current CEO, I guess that's what he is, Joe Ellis, who has worked for Pat Bowlen for a long time. The Broncos are going to be up for sale. And now that they have a head coach, Joe Ellis has said that's going to spur this along, and it could happen relatively quickly. So there's going to be new ownership, but they also need a quarterback. So is it Aaron Rodgers? I have no idea. Do I want Aaron Rodgers? Yes and no. The fan of me who wants to see this stretch end, yes. The fan of the Broncos and Pat Bowlen, no, I don't. So it's a yin and yang. You're
in a tough position though, yes. Needing new ownership, a new quarterback, and a new head coach. Not the easiest to field in a single year. But yeah, I mean, I think, listen, like you said, you can't really ignore the on the field stuff. And as a Steelers fan, when some of that rumor was coming, it's something that you do have to think about, whether or not you agree with his off the field stuff, which I think, we've made it pretty clear. We don't love how neither of us have loved how he's gone about things this year, which obviously, poisons your thoughts on him coming to your team and looking at him on your team. But again, you can't deny the on the field stuff. He is a great quarterback. So we'll see. It'll give us, next week will be our last show because the season is over. But it'll give us fodder for at least one more week of content.
And as I said, it's going to be alive on Twitter, fueled for however long it takes Aaron Rodgers to make his decision.
I'm sure he'll wait. I think he likes the spectacle, so I think he's gonna wait until the very last minute. He seems to really he'll tease it on the Pat McAfee show a few more times, I think, before we ever get
that definitely
final answer.
So I don't think it's gonna happen until at least early March at the earliest.
All right, that is our take it to Twitter, and let's take it into promo party. I will kick us off. I'm going to do the Caesars NBA promo. I know we talk about football on here, but football season is ending, and this one's going a little bit longer. So if you're looking to get yourself some swag for the NBA season for your team, then head over to Caesar Sportsbook. They are running a promotion. I believe it is through February 7th as of right now, but I have seen them extending these dates a little bit. But if you wager $100 cumulatively on NBA games, and there are some minimum odds associated with these wagers, they will send you a $150 gift card to the NBA store online, and then you can pick out whatever team swag that you want for $150. The thing here is that if you are a new user to Caesars and you are getting free bets through their new user offer, you cannot use those free bets towards your $100 cumulative wagers. Those have to be real money wagers. But the great thing about this, on the other hand, is that it's for new users and for current users. So if you've already taken that new user offer, that is great. We don't see a lot of current user promotion. So if you've already taken the offer and gotten your free bets, you are still eligible for this. If you're a current user, you do just have to opt into this promotion. So before you place your wagers on the NBA games to qualify for this promotion, make sure you have opted in and gotten confirmation that you are opted into this promotion.
And that's the key thing with Caesars. Read the fine print. We've talked
Yes.
about this on other shows. Read the fine print. Make sure you know exactly what you need to do and how you need to do it, because with some of the other sports books, it's more clear and easier
Yes.
to comprehend, but definitely do that when it comes to this promotion with Caesars.
Yeah, like you said, make sure you know that you have to opt in. Make sure you know what your minimum odds requirements are, that you cannot use free bets for this promotion, and know when the promotion ends, how long you have to get those bets in, how long it's going to take you to get the gift card. Read those terms and conditions. What do you have, Ian?
For me, since it's championship weekend and it's the last Sunday for this incredible FanDuel promo that you have talked about multiple times, I'm going to do it now. The bet $5, win 150 in real cash money on any playoff team to win their matchup. So obviously that's limited to this weekend for 2 games. So you pick the winner between the Chiefs and the Bengals, 49ers and the Rams, put a $5 money line on that bet. And if your team wins, you get $150 in real money. So 30-1 odds.
I love it. Like you said, cash is the best because there's no real hoops to jump through. So once you get the cash in your account, you're kind of able to do with it what you please, where we don't see that with some of the other free bets. So I love this one. And like you said, it's the last weekend for it, I believe. So if you're new to FanDuel, join. All
Yep.
right.
Sunday is the last day for it. So take advantage of it.
Sunday.
Correct.
Right? Okay.
Yep.
Just want to make sure I heard you right. Are we ready for prop lock and drop it?
We are.
Where I got a winner. It is few and far between, and it didn't look like it was going to happen for me, but Mike Evans came through at the end of the game as an anytime touchdown scorer at plus 100. So thank you, Mike. This week, I am gonna bet into a favorite market here. It's a pretty heavy favorite, but we're gonna go Chiefs team total touchdowns over 3.5. It is at minus 145 at DraftKings. So again, it's the favorite for this to happen. I do think that they're going to put up a lot of points against this Bengals team. There are some other markets where you can get team total points, I believe over 31.5 at plus 100. So that's another option, but I'm going to take them at team total touchdowns over 3.5. What do you have?
So for me, I went with Cooper Kupp and Mike Evans to get 125 yards receiving, one or the other. And obviously both did it. So that was an easy win. For this week, I'm going to go with the Chiefs and the Bengals as well, but DraftKings has conference player specials. And this one is kind of risky, but then you remember that neither defense is really that good. So DraftKings is offering Patrick Mahomes and Joe Burrow to combine for 600 or more passing yards. And right now it's at plus 150. So based on all the other options right now, this is the best market, but the most likely to happen, obviously, because DraftKings put it as the most likely to happen at plus 150. So it's likely to happen. It's still somewhat risky, but you can still get a good payout on it if you decide to go with it. So that's going to be my choice. Patrick Mahomes and Joe Burrow to combine for 600 plus passing yards, which now means neither of them will get more than 150.
Yeah, you've now ruined all of your chances because that's your pick. No, I'm just kidding. Yeah, this is a good thing too. I mean, you've been taking a lot of the specials, so make sure you're not ignoring those on the sports books because like you said, sometimes they put up some pretty cool matchups. I actually really liked the one that you took last week. I thought that was one of the better specials that we've seen. So make sure you're checking out those markets. And guys, next time we see you, we're going to know who is going to the Super Bowl, which is very exciting. We are almost at the end of our journey here. So if you are wagering this week on the conference championships, good luck. And if you're just watching them, I hope we get as good of a football weekend as we did last weekend. I will be extra happy if we get that. And we will see you next week.